Welcome, everybody. Welcome
you,
to the HSMAI Los Angeles in our series of webinars. Today's webinar, Digital Marketing Basics, Search Engine Optimization, Search Engine Marketing, and Social Media Strategies. My name is Mitch Woolley. I'm president of the HSMAI Los Angeles chapter and also founder and CEO of eMarketing Associates. I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge our board members. Libby Zarahi, who's VP of Programs and Education, Jennifer Pachedli, who's VP of Membership, David Barnett, who handles our finance, Craig Cabernet, who handles social media, Levon Miner, sponsorships, Vaughn Davis, who's hospitality innovation, and Danielle Shepard, who is handles student affairs, and the one and only Sandra Martinez, who's our managing director. And I'm going to have Sandra. Actually, I'll go ahead and continue this right now as long as I can. I'm catching a flight in just a few minutes to Las Vegas. But in the meantime, I will introduce Libby Zarahi, who is Director of Sales and Marketing at Hotel Almirano, and she will be our MC and moderator today. Libby, would you like to take it away? You're welcome.
Thank you. Well, we all know why we're here today. We're here for search engine optimization and learning a little bit more about social media strategies. And I'll tell you a little bit about Tony in just a minute. But in order that we're well prepared for the information to be introduced, just make sure that you mute your audio unless you're speaking, of course. Eliminate any background noise. And we'd like you to put questions in the chat box. We'll pause if there's questions that come up in order that Tony can address them. And she'll also address your questions at the end of her presentation.
Any questions so far?
As always, we'd like to encourage and remind people of the HSMAI web series, November 1st through the 6th. Again, very topical, Hotel Digital Marketing Essentials will be taking place. You enroll through the website. You can advance that. Revenue optimization is October 31st approaching through December 5th. And take a moment to very warmly welcome Ricardo, who's Corporate Director of National Accounts with Intermountain Management. I don't know if he's on here today, but we welcome all of our new members and invite their engagement. Now I'd like to tell you a little bit about Tony. I had the pleasure of speaking with her and spending some time with her yesterday. The correct pronunciation is Tony Gaffey, who is a renowned marketing strategist. When I think about how she started her career in transportation, she was managing marketing for 13 airports, 13. And then returned to obtain her MBA. She's also an adjunct professor teaching digital marketing courses at the University of Calgary. In 2020, Kendall Hunt published her book entitled Digital Marketing Strategies, a guide for entrepreneurs and business students looking to integrate modern day marketing into strategy for success. And we'll give you the information and the link in which to purchase that if you would like to further your knowledge, which I'm one of them. But today we're going to pause, and she's going to tell us a little bit about these strategies and how we can incorporate them into our own digital marketing. So without further ado, Tony, welcome to our group, and we're so happy to engage with you.
I'm great. Thank you so much, Libby. I'm just going to share my screen. I appreciate the opportunity to be with you in Los Angeles today, even though it's virtually. It's always great to visit new cities and meet new people. And thank you, Mitch, as well, for inviting me to be here today. Just before we get started, I hear some rustling. I'm not sure if you want to mute your, just in case, mute your, yes, perfect. Awesome. So in this session, I want to talk a little bit about search engine marketing versus search engine optimization, what those mean, and how you can integrate those together with your social media and ultimately measure success. So I will relate these concepts to the hospitality and hotel industry specifically, but it'll give you a taste about what you need to know about the basics and maybe a little bit about the terminology and the languaging so that when you're chatting with your suppliers or vendors or working with other marketing type people, you'll know what to talk about in order to help you optimize your digital marketing and develop that strategy that's needed nowadays. I'm going to talk a little bit about that as well. All right, so just the next slide. So SEM, search engine marketing. And what that is that is the paid aspect when you're online. I'm going to talk a lot about Google. It is a known fact through a lot of my research that I found Google is the #1 search engine that's used in the world. There's almost 2 billion people on it. 80% roughly of anybody who's searching online is on Google. So, and they're the leader in the area. So we tend to follow their lead, even if we're talking about other search engines. So how it works is we go to Google and you type in something that you're looking for, you have an intention, and what results is the search engine results pages. We call them SERPs. At the top, there's usually 3-4 ads. And when we as companies or marketers place those ads, every time that someone clicks on it, we get charged. And that's basically what we call a PPC campaign, pay-per-click campaign. Here's an example of what that looks like. And I'm sure we've all seen them, but over the years, Google has softened the look of the ad component. By law, it has to say that it's an ad. It used to be green and bigger and in a box, and slowly over time it's kind of like smaller and more discreet. So most people know that they're ads, but the ads show up when there is an intention for what people are looking for, so that you can place an ad and get in front of people. So that's how that kind of works. In addition to the actual search ads, Google's display network has many ways to demonstrate visual ads that will pop up. And here's a whole bunch of examples of different types of display ads. They usually have a call to action, a visual, directing people to do something. So between search ads, which show up or when people are looking for something, that can be a part of your strategy. But then you might also want to consider these display ads. And display ads show up when people are searching for things on the internet. What happens is when someone comes to your website, they get cookied, and then Google knows that they've been on that site. So then it follows them around and shows up when they're just showing up whenever they're just looking for anything online. So search ads have much more intention. Display ads are more like magazine ads. They're just showing up. So there's less intentions per se, because people aren't looking for it. They're just showing up. And as a result, they're about 1/10 of the cost of search ads, but they can be very effective in many different ways, which I'm going to talk about in terms of how we can apply these concepts. But first of all, I want to lay the groundwork, what we're talking about here. So there's a trickiness with search ads that I want to point out. I work with different companies and I have people who do the ads for me. I don't do the search ads because they're quite complex. And to be really good at them, you should have a depth of knowledge. But in any case, some knowledge to get started if you were to attempt to do this on your own. This will give you some of the background on what you need to know. So you have to think about what the customer is looking for in order to show up when they're searching online. So keywords are super important, but how you phrase the keywords into your ads are equally important. There's different types of matches that Google looks at. So for example, an exact match means you would tell the ad to show up when someone is looking for the exact words of hotels in Chicago. But we can have other things such as phrase matches where the keywords will just show up in a phrase. So anything before or after hotel packages, when people are searching for that, like maybe weekend hotel packages or hotel packages in Denver, the ad will show up if it's in a phrase match. And then there's also broad match, which means you can use some pretty broad terms. It's sort of a catch-all, and Sometimes this is what a lot of digital marketing people will do, is that they'll start with some broad matches and then try to fine tune it. So they'll use any kind of terms that show up for hotels, for example. In that case, they should definitely invest in some time in getting some negative matches in place, because you don't want to show up for things like a hotel cleaning when you're trying to promote hotel rooms. So there's this sense of complexity in search ads that you really need to understand what people are looking for and how you want to show up with your ads for different types of matched words. So I want to mention that because this is a very interesting concept in search engine marketing, and it's called the long tail. And it doesn't mean necessarily a term with lots of keywords, but what it does mean is that it's more a unique term that's being searched. So keywords and phrases are terms that are commonly searched by anybody, and they refer to the topics rather than anything sort of specific. So for example, LA hotels, a very broad topic that might show up millions of times in a search, I'm just saying, on the left-hand side of this graph. But that's a short tail term, but a long tail term would be boutique hotels in Los Feliz, for example. Less people have the intention with those specific unique terms, but it will show up in a search as a long tail term if you put that into your ad. So long tails are keywords or phrases that are more specific, usually longer, but they don't necessarily have to be, but very unique compared to what are some of the general things that people are looking for. And it might have, and it's been shown to have, that it can have a higher conversion because people are looking for that specific phrase. And when your ad shows up and they go to your page, hopefully that will match and they'll purchase something. So on the graph to the left, we see the highest number of keywords searched by volume. To the right is the one-off unique key terms used. And the point here is that 70% of searches come up from the long tail terms, compared to about 30% that come along for the more popular terms to the left of the chart here. So that's something to consider when you're setting up your ads and when you're either talking to your ads people and saying, you know, have we tried these long tail terms? What type of match types are we using? That is one layer of complexity, but there are many other things that can come into play when you're doing ads. But this is sort of the basics of understanding how they work. So when it comes to retargeting, I want to define retargeting, how I talk about in remarketing. So retargeting is those display ads. Someone shows up, they come to your site, your website shows up in their ads, or they click on an ad or in their organic search, and then they go there and a cookie is placed on their IP, from their IP on their laptop or whatever device they're using. And again, it follows them around and that's stored. So those are okay to do. The third cookies are going away. I'm sure we've all heard about that by this point. Third cookies are when another company has access to your first cookie information that you're collecting on your current users that are your actual users to your website. So it's when someone else is using that information. For example, if Ford Trucks, for example, this is the one I always use, has an article, and in the middle is an article by a magazine, Entrepreneur Magazine. If someone clicks on that site, that third party, which is an ad on there on that website for Ford Trucks, has access to that information. Well, that's going away, but we still have access to first party data, such as the IP address collected when people visit your website, or through their contact information, such as their email. So email is actually starting to play a little bit of a bigger part in the whole digital strategy. And I'm going to touch on that a little bit in the next upcoming slides. Remarketing works when we use that email or contact information. It could also be text messages to, again, come back to your user who's visited your website or left some information about who they are. So retargeting, I refer to them as those cookies and those display ads, and remarketing, I often refer to that as the email touch point. So retargeting works. Say someone comes to your hotel website, or they search for hotels in Los Feliz, and then the ad shows up. they click on the ad, they go to the website, they look around, they don't convert, but a cookie is stored. We know who they are by their cookie identifier. And then as they browse the internet, they see that display ad, and that it should potentially inspire them to come back and complete the form or the reservation. So it's been proven through research that I think it's about 60 to 80%, depending on what research we refer to, that retargeting works to bring users back to the site and inspire them to take action. So considering that as part of the strategy is a very good way to go. The retargeting, remarketing, and search engine marketing with the ads works as part of this buyer's journey. Sorry, someone has their, was there a question? I'm going to stop for questions in just a couple slides here. No? So the buyer's journey, it's the marketing funnel. This is a concept that's been around for a long time. We use it a lot in digital marketing because it helps us to understand how users, and we talk about users as people who are potential customers online, how users are interacting with our brands. So at the top of the funnel or their journey is that they realize they have a problem and they're looking for solutions. So we want to capture their attention to create awareness for who we are. As they learn a little bit about us or what they're looking for, they start to evaluate alternatives. So we want to generate more interest in what we have to offer so that it motivates them with some sort of desire to take action. Now, at the bottom of the funnel, after they take action, we can actually continue our relationship with users in order to build loyalty. And that's where loyalty programs come into play. So the benefits of retargeting and remarketing for the hotel industry is that, yes, we want to start out with some ads, search ads, see if we can capture their attention, get them to do something. If they don't, we can also follow them around with some retargeting in the middle of the funnel in order for them to take action. So we can do things like special offers based on their previous searches on your website. If they come to your site, even if they don't give contact information, they are cookied and we can tell what they're doing. Well, Google, the algorithms can tell what they're doing. And then we can retarget them with the ads or personalize emails with content such as if they've given us a little bit of not only their email, a little bit more contact info like their first name, we can create a more personal relationship with them. So the target based on the funnel stage, you'll want to think about, for example, if they're at the stage where they've already purchased, then that's when we can demonstrate a continued relationship with some loyalty offers for the specific user. So retargeting, remarketing really works well in the hotel industry because people are looking for what you have to offer. And it's a very competitive environment. You want to be able to continue to build relationship with them to drive them down the funnel to convert. So I'm just going to pause here to see if anybody has a couple questions. I did make time here, about 5 minutes to see if anyone wanted to ask anything. I'm just looking here to see if there's anything in the chat.
Tony, this is Libby. I have a real quick question going back to that last slide. If an individual makes the investment in retargeting, what report tells you whether that was successful or not?
So if you're retargeting with display ads, they are set up in Google AdWords. So Google has different parts of its suite. So there's your Google Analytics can help you with some information, and it will list display ads, which is retargeting on the channels from which your traffic are coming into the website. And then there's Google AdWords. That's where you actually set up the ads, and you can connect those two with what's called Google Tag Manager so that they speak to each other, and you can look at the data very clearly to see, you know, who's clicking on what ads, who's actually coming to the website, and then what are they doing on the website? That's a good question.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. You can also measure success through your email service providers, such as a lot of companies, MailChimp. I'm sure that within the hotel industry, many companies have an integrated program with their reservation system so that they can tap into who's coming in and who's registering as part of their complete customer relationship management platform. And then they can retarget them within that system. But if you don't have that system and you use something like a separate email service provider, such as MailChimp, I use MailerLite. And so that also has data within it that can tell you how many people open it and how many people click on things and what they're clicking on. So there's lots of ways to get good data. The trick is to figure out which data is most important in order to optimize what you're doing. Any other questions? Thanks for asking, Libby. I say I will have a little bit of time at the end if you have any more questions. So just wanted to pause there. So that's the only pause. So we'll continue on here. So I've talked about SEM, the paid version. So what about search engine optimization? So what happens with search SEO for websites? We often hear a term, we need to SEO our website. That's when someone goes online and searches for those same types of keywords, and then your website just shows up organically without an ad. So what you need to do there is to optimize the website itself in terms of the content and how it's set up and the user experience. So you need to know what people are searching for so you can use those words within your website and then earn inbound links, so backlinks that are coming to your website. There's so many different factors with SEO, and I'm going to explain what some of them are here in a little bit of detail. It's a little bit technical, but I'm going to break it down for you. And ultimately what it's doing is giving your website more visibility when users are searching for hotels or whatever you have to offer. So here's an example. As you can see by comparison of the previous example, there's no little AD at the top. So I did a search here for hotels in Seattle, and on the first page, there were 4 ads at the top, and that's the maximum search ads you can have. There were 3 ads at the bottom. So that's the max. I think 4 is the max at the bottom, search ads. So that leaves a very small shrinking space for organic, because there's also those map ads, the geo-targeted ads. There's also what's called shopping ads now. So these visual ads are popping up. There's all kinds of things that are starting to clutter that the real estate, we call it, on your first page. And let's make it clear, most people might not even look past the first page. A good, at least 50 to 60% do not go past the first page. So you want to land on that first page. You want to show up on that first page. So what I found was a lot of the first pages for organic had either Expedia, Travelocity, all of those brokers, or they had these types of articles that are listing the best hotels in Seattle, and top hotels. So you can see that getting on that front page for organic needs a little bit more effort by some hotels because they're not always showing up organically. So the organic play in your digital marketing strategy is comprised of these 3 key components. Your technical aspect, which I'm going to show you what that means, the on-page experience, I'm going to talk about that too, and then off-page. So these are the 3 pieces that fit together in a very basic sense of what you need to know to optimize your website. So what are those things? Well, for the website technical setup, you'll need to look at how this is behind the scenes, how the page URLs are showing up. And for most hotels, I'm certain you have a very well-established website and this isn't an issue, but what it does is when you look at other sites, sometimes you might see name of hotel or whatever you're searching for .com/garblygoop. That garblygoop isn't being read by Google. You're missing opportunities for Google to see what you have on that page. So title tags, images, headings, text on page, meta descriptions, these are all things that need to be technically optimized. And so here's an example of an optimized backend. So Yoast is a plugin for WordPress. But if you don't have a plugin, you have to do it all manually, but the plugin guides you through the process on the back end. So this is what your search result will look like. There's the title and the meta description and the website domain. So all of these things need to focus with keywords in both the SEO title and the meta description. So you really need to understand what people are looking for and incorporate that into some of the technical aspect of your website. All right, so on page, or sometimes it's called on-site SEO, and that means the elements on the website that help Google to understand that your website is relevant when people are looking for certain things. So there needs to be enough copy. Copy is the marketing term for writing text. So there has to be enough copy on a page. So a lot of hotel sites don't have a lot of copy because they're almost like shopping sites where they're showing pictures. But it's really great to consider a landing page that has a dense amount of copy that Google can say, oh, you know, these people are looking for this particular key term, and your page will show up. So having user-friendly content, people that can, when people come to the website, they can find things easily. It's easy to navigate. The content is unique. It's not copied from any other website, or even pages within your website should not be duplicated. It confuses Google. You need to align what you have on your website with the user's intent. If you're promoting hotel romantic getaways, and when they click on that ad or on the meta description that shows up organically, and they go to that page and it's all about business meetings, that intent is confusing to the user, and Google will not have your website show up as a result as much. Because we're Google's audience. Google wants you and I to have the best experience possible. It cares about the user experience and that they're getting what they're looking for. And it's up to us as marketers to figure that out and make sure that our websites are set up properly so that the experience is the best experience for our users who come to the site. A lot of that is testing. We want to test different things. There's lots of tools that you can use to test your website to see if it's working or what people are clicking on. So many things that you can do to optimize your website content. Keeping them on the page is important as well. So videos and images, always important to do. And non-content related points are, make sure that you have links within the pages. That contributes to the user experience so that they don't always have to go to the top and try to find out what they're looking for. Interlink things. Make sure that the website loads quickly. With a lot of photos on a website, those images need to be optimized at a certain size so that they're just loading as fast as possible. And the research tells us 3 seconds. It's 3 seconds. If your website's not loading within 3 seconds, the likelihood of people leaving or bouncing before they even get there is increased. So keep that in mind, especially if they're using phones. So make sure that your websites are optimized for mobile and different types of mobile devices, but not just different phones, like tablets as well. So think about how your audience is searching online and what they're using and what that experience is like. And you can optimize it through testing different landing pages, different keywords, different visuals. There's so many things that you can do. I always get asked, so how many factors does SEO, for SEO does Google use? It changes all the time. Google has a major update at least once a year. We've just gone through it's called a core update. And Google doesn't announce those changes. It's as search engine experts, optimization experts, they have to figure out what's going on because it can dramatically change the chances of a website showing up when Google makes these changes. So Google has a base of 200 factors that contribute to good SEO. On top of that, these changes that come up are being optimized. They're optimizing searches for the audience, us, so that it makes it easier. So some of the latest things are more natural languaging on your website because people are using their phones to search and they're saying, Surrey, what hotels have restaurants near me? Well, you want to be able to show up in that search. The way that it's language, that should be a part of your SEO. Things like that. And also a lot of the artificial intelligence opportunities are landing with Google right now, and they just did an announcement last week of some of the major things that are happening with their algorithms, such as a user can hold up their phone to search for something near them. Those types of things, 3D imagery, all these types of things they're not fully implemented yet. Some of them are in beta, some of them being released in local areas, but look for major changes with the way that people are searching and Google adapting to that fairly quickly here. But those base ranking factors don't change. If you are interested in some of this information, don't hesitate to reach out, because I've done tons of research on this topic and all the topics that I talk about in digital marketing. So don't hesitate to reach out, because I'm happy to share some of the research. Particularly, I have an article that's always up to date on what the ranking factors are, and you can work through them if you are so inclined. But it does give you a good opportunity to understand the complexity in SEO as well. So then there's the off-page search engine optimization, and that refers to anything that goes on away from your website. That means people who are coming to your website from other websites. So looking at what competitors are doing and what keywords they use and how they're ranking, that's one thing you'll want to take into consideration, so that you can see how they're showing up organically and what they're doing. But those backlinks are really important as well, and you want to look at good backlinks. So the Better Business Bureau, the Chamber of Commerce, local associations and organizations in our industry, those are all great backlinks to have because they're authoritative. They connect to community, and Google likes that. So analyzing those Google Analytics, looking at where users are coming from, because Google will tell us in the analytics who's coming to the site, where they're coming from, what they're doing, and who's converting, those 4 factors. So we can analyze that data, and it'll help us to look at how to optimize in general. And the tool that Google has that's free, it's part of a suite that analyzes the website, is called Google Console. So we talked about Google Analytics, Google AdWords, Google Tag Manager. There's also Google Console as well. So ideally, you'll want to technically set up your website, make it easy to navigate, have a great user experience, make your content unique, think about those keywords, offer fresh rank. So it is important to optimize your website by adding new content on a regular basis. And that's assigned to Google. That's something new is always happening. You're keeping it fresh for your users. And that there's links within the website and to the website, those backlinks. One key thing to think about, do not keyword stuff. So best hotel in Los Angeles is this name on this corner street. Best hotel in Los Angeles has this. So do not use keywords over and over and over again. Think of using keywords in a natural language kind of way in your copy. All right, so benefits of, we talked about SEM, but the benefits of SEO in the hotel industry is that those algorithms that Google uses are matching a number of factors together in a search query. And when you optimize your website, it can organically show up more often. And people trust organic listings more than ads, because if you're showing up organically, it gives the impression, which is part of the fact, that your website is popular because people are going to it often, and therefore it's more reputable and has credibility. So SEO helps to improve the ability of that algorithm to match your website with relevant queries, and it positions you in front of people who are interested in doing booking at your hotel. So again, the buyer's journey here, SEO pretty much comes into play almost at every step of that journey. You want to have your website show up organically in the searches that your customer does online, whether they're just looking to find out a solution to their problem, which is booking a hotel for their in-laws, or whether they are already comparing with what you have to offer. You want to get in front of those the competitors in the middle of the funnel. And then also, even after they take action, you want to continue to organically be showing up in a search. So SEO and SEM should be used together. And I want to talk a little bit about that and why you want to consider a little bit of both, because SEM and SEO do work together. They both use Google. They both use keywords. They are both based on a user's intent, and they both help your website to be visible on page 1 of a search. So they can be strong in working together. So the reasons why you would want to use SEO and SEM is that it boosts brand awareness. They both help your website to show up. Your ads and your organic will show up on page 1, so it helps to create awareness when people are looking for what you have to offer. And users from search channels have a higher conversion rate rather than advertising in through other means off of the Google search is what I'm trying to say. SEO, it's a long-term play. It takes a good 6 to 12 months to optimize a website properly from zero. But if you already have some search engine optimization, it can take less time, but it is the long-term play, continually optimizing your website and user experience, backlinks, and it can help to have a higher traffic share than search engine marketing, which is that paid ad play. But SEM, pretty efficient results. You put up an ad, it's approved by Google, and you start getting yourself showing up on page 1, hopefully. Unless it's super competitive, I've seen ads on page 11 for some industries. And I'm sure the hotel industry is equally as competitive. And so you want to be careful on how you create your ads so you show up when people are looking for keywords and phrases. So it can be pretty precise. You can dial in on different locations and demographics and keywords and phrases, and you can really track what's going on. Cons to both is that they do require expertise. Learning them takes a little while. Certainly it's doable, but getting an expert can be costly. With SEO, the results are delayed and it can be difficult to track all the search terms compared to what you're doing in the paid media. As soon as paid media is gone, you remove the ads, that's it. You're not showing up with ads again. So a little bit of both helps. So if you're not having very good SEO organically showing up, you might want to invest in some ads so that people see your ad. But by clicking on it, going to your website, that action itself is a factor in helping your organic, for your website to show up organically. So you want to measure the results. Nothing happens in isolations. You should set goals for what you want to achieve. You set your budget, know who you're sending it out to, test things, and measure. In order to optimize your digital marketing, you want to do away with what's not working and invest more time and energy into what is working. So we want to measure those results. And for organic SEO, that means, are you showing up for keywords? Are you actually showing up on that first page? How many visitors are coming to your website through organic channel? And that you can see that through your Google Analytics. How long are they staying on your website? That is a very good indicator of your organic play, because the longer you're on a site, the more Google realizes that's a valuable site to be on. So you'll want to make sure that there's lots of things on your site that keep users on it. And the number of inquiries that come from organic to your hotel and your reservations. So those are all great ways to track what's going on organically. On the page, your cost per click, there are industry benchmarks in terms of how much you should be paying for your clicks. And if you want that information, I'm happy to supply it to you after the fact, after today's session. But you know, I teach these courses, and I know when students haven't looked up the criteria that's necessary to set their budget, because they'll say, well, we're looking at approximately $20 per click. Well, the industry average normally is around $3, maybe $5, depending on industries. So if they haven't done that, like, I suggest doing the research to see what your cost per click should come in at and your conversion rates. So you can look also at your historical data to make sure that you're staying on track. Cost per conversion or cost per acquisition, cost per customer, those are all ways that we can measure whether or not our advertising is actually working. The click-through rate is how many people click on your ad compared to how many people see it. And that is a really important and common metric throughout all digital marketing. We don't want to just show up in terms of impressions. And I've had people ask me, well, how many impressions is a good benchmark? There is no benchmark. It depends on how much you're spending. It depends on how many followers you already have, if you're doing it organic or in social. Impressions aren't as important. They're almost like a vanity metric. What's important is how many people have seen it and then click on it. So the click-through rate is important. And of course, the return on your advertising spend, ROAS. So not just your ROI, your return on your advertising spend. So how many people actually buy based on the spend that you're contributing into your campaign. So I've got a few more slides here. The benefits of SEO and SEM for hotel together. You know, keep your hotel ahead of the competitors, because I don't know that all of them invest in both. It helps to establish your hotel credibility when you're showing up, when people are looking for what you have to offer. You can improve your loyalty, customer loyalty, by knowing what people are doing and what they're looking for and doing the research. It will definitely help to increase brand awareness and ultimately that profitability by getting traffic to your website. So lots of good reasons why you want to get in on a little bit of both of those tactics in your digital marketing. So now, what about social media? We've got Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, WhatsApp, LinkedIn, Snapchat, Twitter, TikTok, and Pinterest. Which one do we use? Well, what's most important is understanding where your market is and what platforms they're on and what kind of relevant information do they want on those platforms. It's called social media. So the results are not instant. You have to build relationship. It's in a social environment. And in that case, you'll need to commit to a couple of key platforms, 2, maybe 3, use them well. And then once you get them fine-tuned and what works and what doesn't work, then slowly adopt another platform and integrate it into your strategy. So with social media for hotels, it tells a story. So keep it visual, use videos as well. It's the fastest growing consumed content, not just because of TikTok, but because people around the world are now online, and video can be used around the world without languaging, because it visually tells that story in movement. Engage with your customers. That humanizes the brand when you build a relationship with them online. Make sure you have those brand guidelines and follow the colors, the fonts, the messaging, all the things that keep that brand consistent, because through consistency, we build a strong perception in the mind of the consumer that builds loyalty. And when they think about hotels, yours will come top of mind because they know what your brand stands for. So post regularly to keep that top of mind in the mind of the consumer through your social media platforms, and do test, try different concepts. Does a visual of the room work, or does people in the room work? Try different things, and then you can leverage that in your other marketing initiatives. And play with your brand, the expression of your brand personality. Don't play with the personality, play with the expression of it to connect emotionally. You know, humor is very tricky, but you can come across as a boutique hotel with lots of personality. You get what I mean, versus a standard hotel next to the airport that's just for business people, or maybe for families. It depends. So what is it that you want to come across, and how do you connect emotionally so that your audience is saying to themselves, that is the type of hotel I want to stay in? So really quickly here, think about the funnel when you're thinking about your digital marketing strategy for offline hotel campaigns, because they should also be a part of this journey. Billboards, hotel branding, print ads, word of mouth, those are traditional ways that we've advertised. But for online, think about integrating social media with your SEM, your paid ads, even influencer marketing, which is a part of paid advertising as well. Search engine optimization and reviews. These are all great tips on how to generate awareness at the top of the funnel. In the middle of the funnel, don't forget about your remarketing, retargeting with display ads and email communication reminders. hey, you put something in the cart that you were going to book, but you didn't complete that transaction. Did you forget about it? So a little email reminder does stimulate people to come back, and sometimes that's all they need. Also use in the middle of the funnel to generate interest and motivate them to do something. That customer support through social media even, and automated chats on your website. These are all great things to think about to push them down the funnel so that they convert. And at the bottom of the funnel, once they take action, I mean, things like customer service and checkout, these all contribute to touch points, including that email communication after the fact, asking for reviews, maybe special offers, because they've already booked with you, but maybe getting them to come back, tell their family and friends through email offers. And again, engaging with them on social media and inspiring them to share and to talk about what great experiences that they've had with your brand. So keep in mind, developing that search engine marketing and search engine optimization, it's a commitment. And if you can't do it yourself, it is also a financial commitment. Watch for what works and what doesn't work. Do more of what works and do less of what doesn't work. That's how we optimize our digital marketing. And the data through measuring results can help to inform decisions on what's working, what's not working. And remember, it's integrated. That funnel approach demonstrates how we need to think about the customer's mind and where they are in the process and integrate our digital marketing, whether it's SEO, paid advertising, social media, all the things that we do, email, all the other things I've talked about. They all need to create an integrated approach in order to help your customer to make that purchasing decision. So Libby did mention I do have a book. It's for sale on Kindle Hunts, but for those, if you're interested in digital marketing strategies, I've actually created a 2-hour course on Udemy, and I'm offering it for $15, and we've got a special code just for today that's valid for about a month, and then it'll expire. But for $15, you can get a high level look at how to develop your overall digital marketing strategy. And it can include SEO, SEM, and social media, but other things like content marketing and how to optimize your website and those types of things. It's pretty high level. It's a management approach, but I highly recommend it. So thank you for your time.